Is it a dinosaur? Is it a lizard? It's a wacky animal bank, and I think he's hiding your savings in your room. Here's what you'll need. First, you need a quart canning jar. You'll need instant paper mache, a styrofoam egg, and you'll also need 4 wood beads and some acrylic paint in shades of green. Let's get started. The very first thing that you want to do is to attach 4 beads to the bottom, because those are going to become your legs. I've already glued those on because I wanted to give them time to set and be nice and secure. The next thing is we want to make his nose. And I'm taking my styrofoam egg, I'm going to roll it on the table to flatten it so that I have a nice flat surface to attach to the front and the lid of the canning jar. Now you could make this animal any size if you were using a pint-sized jar as well, but I think this will hold more money. So I'm going to set that on, and I want to give that some time to dry and make it really secure. Now we're going to be covering this with instant paper mache, so let me show you what we need to do. The paper mache comes in a block, and it's 1 pound. So I have a ½ pound in here, and with a ½ pound you add 16 ounces of water, and warm water will mix the best. So I'm going to slide this in, and I'm using a very heavy-duty plastic bag. Then I'm going to seal this bag, make sure it's nice and tight, and then knead the paper mache in the water. Now, if it's too damp, you can add more of the paper mache compound, and if it's too dry, you can add just a little bit of water. Now, I continue kneading this until it gets to be a nice, kind of gooey consistency, and that'll make it easy to work with. I have some that I've already made. Let me squeeze a little bit of this air out too so I can get all of this mixed in. And there we go, we've got our paper mache material. Now, I'm going to continue, and I want to cover this entire container, but I want to be very careful that I don't cover this entire area right here on the neck, because I want to be able to get this out so I can get my money out. So I'm going to just reach in, and I think the easiest thing would be to just use it from the bag, or you could spill it out. And I'm going to cover this entire surface. And it'll stick really well, except now I'm going to be real careful around this nose because I did just glue that on. Now if there's any dry spots in your paper mache, just squish them around and get that on. And I'm working right to the neck. I'm going to continue around his nose. This is almost not quite dry, so we'll wait a little bit. Now you might want to do this kind of in parts and pieces. Do some, let it dry a little bit, and then add the next pieces. Now I'm going to lay him on his side so you can see how I go around the legs. I'm actually just using those as a form because I'm going to build around the legs and make it almost like you were putting clay around him. This is going to be a great bank, and it's going to hold a lot. We'll keep going around. I'm not going to go on the very bottom yet, but as I said, we'll do it in sections, so we'd let that dry. Now I'm going to set this aside because I have one almost up to this part. Here he is. We've got our basic shape done. I'm going to put a little bit more on his nose, and I'm still being very careful not to cover too much on that rim. And I left his legs not completely done here. So you can see, here's the one side that have been covered, and here's the other side. So as I said, I'm going to come back now and do this other part. So you're going to wait and let this dry and give it plenty of time to cure until it's completely dry and very hard. It's totally, and becomes paper mache. Now, we want to give him some features. Now you can make him a dinosaur like we did, or a lizard. Paper mache, if you use a drier piece, will actually roll out. And we could create a tail that will go on the back. We pull this in front, and his tail can go just slide down. Now, I'm letting it rest on the paper here. We can always cut off an excess, but I want to have a place to dry. I'm also going to create some little points to make his scales on the back. And then lastly, if I turn him around to the front where you can see him, I'm going to put 2 circles here for his eyes. Now I have one that's already completed to this point. I'll move him to the side. I've painted him solid green, and I'd go and paint the entire dinosaur, or is he a lizard? Then I've taken a wet sponge and I'm going to blot it in some lighter green paint. Blot it on my newspaper and just lightly tap in to give him that really scaly look. So let's take a look at our finished lizard. We've added a little tongue, some white paint on his eyes. Doesn't he look great? Now I'll be back for a recap on today's show.